Hello, welcome to Mountain Craft Studio. My name's Christine. Come on in and I'll show you what I've been working on. Okay, thank you for stopping by to visit today. I have lots to show you. It's been a few weeks, so I'm just going to get right into it. One of my first finishes that I have to show you is just a wee little thing, but it is adorable. So this is my little pincushion. See how cute that is? So I bought this little kit when I went to House of Stitches in LaPorte, Indiana, and isn't that adorable? It just comes on this little Nantucket basket. I bought some little bee pins to put on it to go with the little bees that are on the stitch piece. The pattern is called Through the Woods. Fine Needlework Designs by Jane Timmers. So if you're interested in making one, I'm sure you could go out and find that somewhere. The pins I picked up off of Pincushion Crazy on Etsy. I couldn't decide if I wanted little bees or little flowers, so I, bought both just in case. So I'm sure I will find something to do with the little flowers. Super cute. And they came, it's a Canadian company, and she was still able to get it to me really quickly, so I was impressed with that. But this will go up on my, with the rest of my pincushion collection, and so I'm pretty happy with that. Turned out really cute. So I've been busy every day working on my Stitch a Day project. I spoke about that in my most recent Flosstube. It is by Morning Glory Needleworks, Stitch a Day, and so this is what it will look like kind of in the end. I've changed the colors to more muted colors, same color line, but definitely more dusty, I guess you'd call it, which is more my color. So I'm going to try to hold this up close enough so that you can see some of the detail. It's not focusing as much as I would like, but as you can see, it is filled with all kinds of different stitches. I've really enjoyed this. Some of them are more challenging than others, but it's definitely an enjoyable project that I'm looking forward to finishing. I think it's going to be pretty when it's finished too, and I will have learned all those stitches. I just love how it looks like a quilt block. Or each little one looks like a quilt block, and it's all gonna look like a quilt, because I'm a quilter, so why wouldn't I love that? The other thing that's been keeping me busy, my January sampler was Harriet Elizabeth Co. by Brenda Gervais. It's a sampler that I have loved ever since it came out, and for whatever reason I haven't stitched it before now, but I love the colors. I like a sampler that has just, an alphabet and just a little bit of motifs at the bottom and some pretty borders. Give me all that and I'm your girl. So I am almost halfway because I pretty much worked on this exclusively through January. I love it. and I'm not even remotely tired of it. So instead of packing it away to wait until next January, I'm going to be using this as my travel stitch. So if I go to our stitch group or something like that, I'm going to take this with me because it's, number one, it's 32 count, so it's easy to see. So no matter where you are, even if you don't have good lighting, you can see it pretty easily. And nothing about it is too complex. You can, you know, there's not as much precise counting and that sort of thing. So it's the perfect travel project. So I'm going to keep that one around. I'll be working on it a little bit here and there, but not in my regular rotation. So I was supposed to have started, according to my my whip parade, my goals were to start Above All from Teresa Kogut this month. And I did, and I started looking at it. My plan was to change some of the colors to make it work in my bedroom a little bit more with another piece that I already had. And once I started on it, I said, nope, this is it. I like the colors that Teresa had much better. It needs that bold red pop in order to make the sampler work. So I've just set it aside. It's not that I'm not going to do it right now. I'm just setting it aside until I figure out, do I change what my plan is for the accessories, or do I just repaint the bedroom? Because that's still an option. That's still, you know, who doesn't repaint their bedroom to match their samplers? Anyway, in replacement, I have decided to start this little project because I've had this little kit laying around. It's a kit from Samplers Not Forgotten, the Floral Heart Kit. I've only just started on it. I only have a little tiny bit going. But this is kind of the opposite of the sampler that I just showed you. There's a lot of precise counting. You have to really get in there and try to be able to differentiate which greens. There's like 3 or 4 greens and 3 or 4 pinks. But I have loved this ever since it came out too. It's so pretty. So I will be stitching on that in February, on and off. I also have a lot of other projects going on. And I'm not opposed to moving up my samplers, the orders that they were in. So if I finish the heart and I feel like going ahead and starting the next sampler, I will. In the meantime, and the reason I say that is because the day I filmed the whip video, it wasn't 45 minutes later that the mail showed up. And the mail carried Cedar River linen. You know, I ordered some of her linens like most of us have. And I received, I did the 2 neutrals and the green. I haven't done the red yet, but this green is gorgeous. I just love it, love it, love it. And I knew exactly what I was going to do with it as soon as I opened the box. So Anne Robinson, 1800, is a stitch by the Traveling Stitcher. I've had this chart for a while. I saw Susan Stanley. She started this, I think, sometime last year. And when I saw her stitching on it, I was like, I have to have that. I love that. And I've had it kitted up with a couple different greens. And I was, or greenish, you know, and I just wasn't in love. But now I'm in love. This is the perfect color. And so when I had it kitted before, I'd kitted it with the DMCs, which are pretty and all that. But now that I have the absolute perfect green to go with this, I'm upgrading to the Gloriana Silks because it's absolutely worthy. Only problem is I can't get Brick, and I can't remember what the other one. I can't get these 2 colors yet in the Gloriana Silks. They're not available. So I'm impatiently waiting for those to arrive. It may be a while. So I'm trying to keep myself occupied with other things, but how fabulous is this going to be on that fabric? Right? Let me even get it closer. Look at that! the shimmer. It's just going to be so beautiful. So beautiful. Can't wait. So the day those silks arrive, I will be starting this. It doesn't matter where the rest of the samplers are in their rotation. They're just, this is the way it's going to be. So my plan lasted 45 minutes before a squirrel came and blew it up. Oh, well, that's okay. Right? And as far as things I've been stitching on since my last video, that's pretty much it. I have been doing a lot of other things that I'm going to show you. And one of those has been some acquisitions. I've done some shopping. This one actually I bought prior to, I think it came just before Christmas. But this is an antique sampler that I bought from Sweden, but it's actually, I believe, from Denmark. If you look at the alphabet and the special characters right there. So I spoke with Jacob because he knows a lot more from Modern Folk Embroidery. He knows a lot more about Scandinavian samplers and things that I do. And so I asked his advice and he agreed that it was from Denmark. And it's very charming. So I haven't been able to locate this person, Natalia Berg, from 1854 yet. I'm still working on trying to figure out what information is available from for Ancestry.com and other search methods, right, for genealogy work, because this is another country where my ancestors are from. So actually I'm like 40% Swedish slash other Scandinavian countries, right? And I know that there's a family line that lived in Denmark, so I want to be able to hopefully learn more about how to access that information. So I actually I've downloaded Babbel on my phone, and I'm learning Swedish at this point. I know enough now to converse with a 2-year-old, so it's slow going. I'm enjoying it because it takes me right back to being a kid and listening to my grandfather. He never lost his Swedish accent, and none of the rest of us spoke Swedish. He wouldn't let us because we're in America now, and we had to learn to be an American and speak the American language. And I regret that immensely because I would have loved just to know more about what he was saying at the time. But every time I listen to it, I'm starting to listen to some other Scandinavian shows on YouTube, and it's been fun. It just takes me right back to being a little kid and wondering what on earth is that man saying. He passed away when I was still pretty young, so I don't really, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of, wasn't able to ever like sit down and have a long conversation with him. I was young enough that I was just, a child. I've done some other thrifting. I made one little stop and I hit some pretty good items. So I found this basket, right? Just a kind of interesting basket. Like you could maybe put some flowers or greenery or something in here. And it had this little snowman on here. He's just painted on there. It looks like cross-stitch fabric, but he's just painted on there. And he is really adhered to this basket. And so my plan is to cover, not that I don't like him, it's just not, cutesy is not really my style. But I thought this would be a great thing. I could just cover him with a stitch piece. How fun would that be? I like it. And nothing that I'm going to show you was even $2. It was all under $2. So then I found a set of 3 of these frames, and these are nice, pretty sturdy, heavy frames. These are all dirty right now and kind of a little bit beat up, but my plan is not to keep them as is. My plan is to, I just wanted the frames, right, and the glass. So I'm probably going to repaint them sometime. But I thought that would be really nice if I ever have, you could go either way. If I ever have 3 that I want, you know, to match. Again, they were very inexpensive. Was real happy with that. And then I found this one. I think that this one was super cheap because there's no glass here. There's a piece of glass here, but the other one must have broken at some point. And so, but I thought this would be another good one. It's always nice to have, it's squares are kind of hard to find sometimes, so I grabbed that. It's kind of pretty. I thought about just putting my pictures in it and hanging it on the wall. We'll see. Maybe, yeah. I think $1.99 is what the Goodwill thing says. So that was fun. That was an unexpected trip, and it just panned out perfectly. What else? So then, just this past weekend, I went to Always in Stitches, which is our local needlework shop, and we have a stitchers group that meets there once a month. And as usual, I didn't do a lot of stitching, but I did do a lot of visiting, and that, so it's always fun to see what everybody else is doing. And the one great thing about Always in Stitches is they have a little small room, it's not really a room, it's kind of open the rest, but it's the clearance corner. And so I always hit the clearance corner to see, you know, what's there. And I don't know that I've ever gone back there and not found something that I wanted, but anyway. So I found, one of the things that I found was this. This is a quilt pattern. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It looks like stitching. I loved it. So as I continued to sit there and look through things, then I found some fabric. And I bought, it was 40% off, right? And so I bought enough for the back. I bought 5 yards because it is gorgeous. I love that. It's so pretty. I figure between all the things that I have, you know, all the scraps that I have and my stash of reds, I should be able to put that together, no problem. And, you know, since I was there, isn't this pretty? I'm going to use this, I think, for a border for something. I bought 3 yards of this one, but man, that's gorgeous. So, let's see. The other thing I was going to show you with my thrifting is actually, we did some work out here in the studio, and I wanted to show you what I did. So when I go and I pick up frames like that, and I have them, I stick them away here, there, and everywhere where I can find a place, right? And then I kind of forget what I have. So the guys were out here working. I had new doors put in to the studio because we had some really neat old doors with, they were like, what are those called? The doors with the windows, with the little grids. Super common, everybody knows this. Anyway, we had some of those old doors, and the condensation that would build up on those old doors on the windows would leak down into the wood part, and it was just, and they didn't seal perfectly well, and this is one of the windiest places in the country, and so the wind would just howl through some of the bottoms of the doors, so we just decided to bite the bullet and pay to have new doors put in. Well, actually, my husband and my son put them in. But while they're out here with tools, I said, hey, can you hang a few picture frames for me? Well, of course, my husband's like, yeah, okay. I didn't tell him there were like 30 of them. So, but he was a trooper and he did it anyway. So what I decided to do was to just go ahead and hang them all along the top of the wall. This is, the ceiling in here is extra tall, so that's up above the 8-foot mark, right? And so they're up out of the way, and now I can see what I have. Works for me. So I guess he has 4 more he has to put up there. And as I was looking around for something, I don't even remember, I don't recall now, I stumbled upon an eBay find, as one does. And I found somebody selling these, right? There's lots of them, lots and lots of them, all different colors, and they are old. They're definitely old. More. And so I was excited, super excited. There's a whole quilt worth of these already finished and ready to go. And there was even one complete block of what the original quilter was planning. So this is going to be my hand project for a while. Instead, I was getting ready to do a hexagon quilt, but I decided I'll finish this first. So I just need to cut all the off-white pieces out and start hand stitching it together. No time frame for this one, just whenever. But I think I'm going to lay it out so that this is the block, and then there will be sashing, right? And then another block. So that'll be fun. It's been a while since I've done any hand piecing. I actually really enjoy it. I'm one of those crazy quilters. It doesn't bother me to do anything by hand. I think that's partly because I'm so used to, you know, stitching, cross-stitching, hand quilting, whatever. It just doesn't, it's soothing to me to sit around and hand stitch something. And I understand that it's not that way for everybody. The big finishes that I have to show you is that I did finish a couple of quilts. And so one of them, the first one, is my Threads That Bind quilt, and I'm just going to have to show, insert some pictures here for you to see, because Agnes has taken over that quilt, and she's not feeling really well this week, so I didn't want to take it from her. She's been to the vet yet again. She had surgery for to have her spayed, and about a week and a half later she started feeling bad, and I just had her in, and now she's on antibiotics. She has an infection. She has, is it pancreatitis? I believe, yeah, pancreatitis is. She's just gonna be one of those cats that's always gonna have something going on. So we're definitely investing in pet insurance for Agnes because we seem to have become a fixture at the vet's office. But that's okay. She's still sweet. She's just, I knew she wasn't feeling well because she wasn't destroying the whole house and playing like she usually does. So that signals that she's not well. Hopefully she's had a couple vials full of her medication, and they gave her some sub-Q fluids yesterday because she was starting to get dehydrated, and so hopefully she'll start feeling better, probably today, tomorrow. That would be good, because I feel bad and she doesn't feel good. And then the next quilt is Kathleen Tracy's. Had a sew-along in her Facebook group for the Soldier's Cot quilt. I've had this on my to-do list for years, years and years. I've done almost every other quilt in this book, except for that one and one other, which I'll show you in a minute. And I love it. So this one is going to be on the Threads That Bind quilt is on my guest room bed that my granddaughter uses. And other people whenever they come over. And it also doubles as my stitching room. There's a TV up there, and I can go and stitch when I don't want to watch, you know, football or whatever. And it's also Agnes's room right now. So this one, though, will go into another little bedroom that doubles as my office and is where my grandson will be sleeping. Right now, he still sleeps in a small, what do they call this, pack and play, but he just turned 2 this last weekend, so he's gonna be outgrowing it pretty soon. He's such a cutie. They grow up so fast. But I'll insert a picture of what this one looks like. I'll spread out too, hanging on the wall so that you can see that. But I thoroughly enjoyed this cot quilt went together really, really quickly, and I really, really enjoyed it. I was kind of dreading it at first with the triangles, but it was a really quick stitch. Loved it. And this border, oh my gosh, isn't that gorgeous? So both of these fabrics I'd been hoarding for years, until I found just the perfect quilt to put it on for the border. And I looked it up, as far as when this fabric came out, and it's been 10 years. So I had it for 10 years. It's probably time to use it. Trying not to become a hoarder, really, I am. But it's hard, very, very hard. So, what else have I done? I've done some knitting, believe it or not. So we took a trip down to our log cabin, and while I was down there, I decided to do a little bit of knitting, and I have started what is it called? It is the Mini Solution Scarf. So I'll put a picture in here. It's really, really pretty. 5 different colors knit together so that it's really pretty. So I decided I was going to use some of my hand spun yarn. This is, let's see if I can hold it up. I had a package of fiber that had these 5 different colors in it to make. They aren't full skeins. They were just, it was like a mini package. But I think it's going to be gorgeous. I love the rainbow. I'm hoping that there's enough here that I could actually make 2 of the scarves. I need to weigh out my yarn today. That's one of my tasks. As soon as this is over, is to weigh it out and make sure, because I'm trying to knit until only half of the ball is gone, right? And then just start the next color, because it can be any size that you want. You just need to stop knitting at the right spot. But that's my plan to get this accomplished. And it had been so long since I've done any knitting. I had to sit there and think about how do I cast on? I'm like, really? It's been a while. So clearly I need to be picking up my needles a little more often. Never mind the spinning wheel. In my defense, I took some spinning fiber with me and had big plans to do a lot of spinning while I was at the log cabin. And I drug everything out, and I pulled over the spinning wheel, and I sat down and I started to get going, and the mice had eaten my drive band. I was not happy. Like, really? Of all the things in the house, you ate the drive band. They also nibbled off the little ends. I have a rag rug, and it had the fringe ends. It nibbled off a bunch of those too. So now I have stubby little ends on my rag rug. It's one of the joys of building in the woods, right? Well, we get them here too. So or on a farm, or anyway. I think I figured out where they were coming in. So I was on the warpath after that. So I trapped as many as I could. I caught 2 while I was there, and then I stuffed other places. So hopefully they won't get back in. Fingers crossed. I'm going to go back down here soon, probably next week. So we'll see if I caught any more while I was gone. That's always fun. So I think that's it as far as projects. I did want to show you my collectible of the month. But before I do that, I wanted to show you, if you haven't already seen this, a lot of people have been talking about it. So this is Sewing Rolls, Needle Rolls, and Huswifts. Isn't that cool? It is so nice, by Dawn Cook Ronigen. The photography is amazing. I am loving it. I have her other books, and I knew it was going to be good. So I was so excited when she said that this was coming out. It's so informative. I've learned so much, and I thought I knew a lot about these, and clearly I didn't know anything as far as the different varieties and their uses. But this is just fantastic. If you enjoy antique needlework at all, this is a book that you want on your bookshelf. And to sit and savor this. This is my evening read right before I go to bed, because I just want to sit and thoroughly enjoy it, and have been loving it. So the last time I shared one of my collection, I showed a smaller spool holder that had a little drawer in it with a pincushion on top. And so this is similar. This one's not. This one's probably older. The lacquer has really aged. This was just a dark brown. And I don't know if you can see, maybe not here. Let me find one. There are fleur-de-lis that were painted right here with gold paint. And there's gold around here. You just can't really, and there was some gold, kind of like this down here. But the top part, you just can't see it because it's just, I don't know what the word for it is, but it's starting to craze and look cracked and whatnot, which I love, because it looks very primitive. But look at that. Look how old that pincushion is. This is one of my favorites. One of the cool things about it is that the top slides to open a box that you can store things in, which apparently have buttons that I didn't know I had forgotten about. Anyway, I love this. This is another contender for someday when my husband retires and has all the time in the world. It's another contender for him to make, because it's kind of cool. This spins separately from the base. Cool, huh? Anyway, I think that's my report for now. The next sampler, I think I will be stitching. I may just switch the Teresa Kogut stamplers that I was planning to do, and I'm gonna do the Remember Me instead of Above All. I'll insert a picture of that, so look for that next time. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a good February, and that you are able to get lots of warm and cozy stitching done, or any other thing, and be able to enjoy the getting through the rest of this winter. And I'll see you later. Thanks.